Oh my gosh, we haven't walked into something like this in a while. Late 90s I see in here. You know, I found this Ted Williams in a random box. So I see some basketball in here. The vast majority of this is Sparky Anderson, 1993.
I'm ready to get rid of it.
I've looked for maybe 2 hours. This is what I've found. All of the rookies were being pulled out. We're in love with Bonita. We're not in love with the $4,000 deal. So the beautiful thing about social media is we're here in South Carolina. Someone reached out to us on social media and said, hey, I'm 2 hours away from South Carolina or from Greenville. Could you do a deal with me on my Pokemon cards? And so I worked the numbers with the boys, and I'm gonna meet him right here in the parking lot, and we're gonna get a deal done for like $3,000 in Pokemon cards. The beautiful thing about staying connected with us on social media is that you get to see where we're always gonna be. Jimmy, what's up?
Hi, what's going on, man?
Yeah, so good to meet you.
Doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good,
Awesome.
Thanks.
My wife, we've lived together since 2003, 2002, and she came with a binder of Pokemon. I didn't really, you know, we've had it forever, just always there, whatever. And my dad, like 6 months ago, a year ago, was like, hey, we're pulling stuff out of the attic. He's been doing that for years, giving me my old toys, my Ninja Turtles, my G.I. Joes. Like, he kept everything. I think he had trauma from his parents throwing everything away. Wow. So he kept everything. And then, so when he told me that he was bringing me all my cards, I ordered like a whole bunch of top loaders. Well, then the top loaders got there before he came to visit, and I was like, well, I got those Pokemon cards. And so I pulled out the vintage and like kind of mastered that vintage set, and then kind of went into the Pokemon thing for a minute. But I'm a little too old for it. Like I wasn't into it as a kid. Yeah. So I think that's why it was a short fuse. I figured your boys would have given you the heads up. I mean, I almost did.
Oh shoot.
I mean, and this is sealed. This is sealed. These are the prismatic 10s that are sealed. The full art set of prismatic, which is like the next most popular set to the 151. And then these are the ETBs.
You really took care of these boxes.
I don't love this stuff as much as I thought I did right when I got into it.
Totally. Wow. So I mean, for the sports card audience that's watching, what am I looking at? So I see prismatic. That's the hot stuff now.
That's the hottest new set, right? This is Surging Sparks, which was also a very popular set. That's modern. Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, and then this is all the 151. Which
what's the cards that we should know about? I sent that to them too. The boys.
I mean, this is a vintage. It's a Japanese, obviously. That's Blaine's Charizard from the Japanese Gym Hero set back in like 2000 or something. These are also both vintage. This is modern Obsidian Flames. This is a decent Charizard. Yeah. And there's a lot of good cards in it. This is a $200 Charizard. That's a promo, but still pulls good money. 50, 60 bucks. That's a $60 card.
Were you buying all these singles, or were you ripping packs?
Both. Okay. A little bit of both. And these ones were I'm a binder guy, so some slabs were cracked. If those were there, I'm sure they'll figure it out. That's a big card out of this Surging Spark set.
Wow.
It's $200. I pulled that one. It's $200 and something raw. It's not in like a monetary order per se, you know. They just kind of got put in there, but they do match the sheets. They're in the order of the sheets for your boys. I'm sure you know. It's with being all the original Pokemon, and then us having found that vintage binder. That's kind of with that being out right when I found the vintage binder. It was kind of like, oh, well, this is like the modern version of that, and just kind of got into it. And now I'm like, yeah, I don't love it as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, funny how that works, right? Ebb and flow. Well, thank you so much. You drove out of your way to make this happen.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
It's crazy it worked out, man. God works in crazy ways.
Well, there you go. Easy meetup, super cool guy, and a pretty good deal for the boys back home.
Yeah, Ty, man. Appreciate
super good to meet you.
Crazy it worked out. Kansas, Atlanta, and here we are in Greenville.
It usually happens that way for us.
I bet.
It's a cool thing. Yeah, cool. Safe travels back.
Thanks. You too, man.
Thank
y'all be good.
I don't know if you remember, but about a year and a half ago, we were swinging through Columbia, South Carolina, and we popped in to Catch 'em All Pokemon and sports cards. How long have you had the shop?
A little over 4 months.
Oh, this is brand new.
Yeah, we're new.
Dang, guys, that's awesome. I have this Dragon Ball Z box, and I thought, you know what? Let me go see if Marshall's still around, check on his store, and maybe we can work out a trade for some of these cards.
This box of Dragon Ball Z was from a local collection that I picked up yesterday. It was a gigantic haul of graded cards, and if you subscribe to our email list, you'll know that we've been selling thousands of those items through our live auctions, eBay, and even with our friends over at Pristine Auction.
Marshall,
Look at here, man.
you ready to trade?
Oh, long time, man.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So how long you been open?
We've been open almost 2 years now.
Okay, so about 2 years ago.
It was funny because we were shaking our boots, like, are we going to make it? Are we not going to make it? You know, is this the right move for us? And yeah, I've been wanting to call you guys too. Like, yeah, I want you to come back down and see, like, you know.
I'm so glad we happen to be in the area.
Yeah, when you called, I was ecstatic. I was like, yeah, come on in.
Yes. Well, I brought some Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I thought, man, I know you don't do Dragon Ball Z, your Pokemon, but look at them because it was in a collection. And I'm like, if it's worth something, I'll trade for some boxes.
This is a pretty nice surprise, and not just for us. It seems like maybe for Marshall as well.
So it's still the same market. You still have your collectability and then your playability market. Unfortunately, being in slabs, your playability market
Just becomes collectors.
it just comes collectors.
Got it.
Like these guys right here. This is the trio in Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
During the big tournament, they represent their world and they're fighting to stay alive, to keep the world alive. So that's just a backstory on the trio. A lot of people think Dragon Ball is like a new thing, but it's actually been around since the early 90s.
Really?
Yeah.
So almost longer than Pokemon.
Yes.
Or longer than
Just I think maybe about around the same time, but
Okay.
back in, you know, everybody knows the card business back in the 90s. Well, unfortunately wasn't. Yeah. Unless it was Pokemon.
Got it.
Value on the cards though, it's just the same as anything. Probably looking up on the comps on eBay and seeing what they go for. I don't see any big name characters.
What's your gut say on those? Are they like $10 slabs? They like, what is it, like $100 here?
Research. Yeah, when it comes to the value on these, if they're raw, you can still look these up on TCG.
Okay.
Yep. So, but you know, I didn't know being graded. Obviously, you're gonna go hold more value. What would you want on them?
How about $100 for all of them? I don't know the value of these. He doesn't seem to know the value. $100 seemed like a good number.
$10 a slab. You know what? I absolutely love you guys. So let's do it.
Deal.
All
right.
Let's do it.
This is so fun to see Marshall again. I mean, we saw him when he was a month into the opening, and now 2 years later, they're thriving. So cool. It's been about 10 years since I've opened Immaculate. It's back when it was affordable. So here we're looking for Wimby. Oh, you know I hate spending money on sealed product, but I mean, it's so fun to open. They're giving us a good deal on Immaculate, which we haven't opened in a long time. Let's open some Immaculate basketball together. Chet Holmgren. Okay, there's a proper way to do this, I know. Ooh. Okay,
Not bend the corners.
not been the corners. Chet Holmgren, got a 49 base. Mikal Bridges, something. Out of 99. Dual, wow, dual Wimby. Brandon Miller,
And Brandon Miller. Okay.
it's cool.
Two big rookies.
Seth Lundy, out of 99. Okay, this is big. This is important. Oh, Jason Williams? White chocolate? White chocolate out of 99. Okay, this is the one right here. This will determine our fate. Uh-oh, not a rookie. Sophomore. Oh, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kermit Bar. Oh, okay. Nice.
Not bad.
All right.
Not bad. So good to see you again,
Yeah,
man.
it's
So
been a
happy
pleasure.
for you guys.
Yeah, you guys fly safe.
Laura, right? Okay. Yeah, so good to see you again too.
Thank you.
Yeah. How cool is that? Catch 'em all cards. We saw Marshall and Laura back when they first opened by accident, a month in, and here we are 2 years later. Their store's going crazy. Traffic flow's insane. The revenues are up 6x. That's 600% in 2 years. They figured out how to make it work. So good to see it. This is what the hobby and the grind is all about. So on our way out, Marshall mentioned that he has a connection to a lady. She has a collection of cards that he thinks would be perfect for us. We're gonna go get some food and think about if it makes sense for us to maybe stay a little bit longer and go check it out. Food always seems to solve problems. She has a collection that was her late husband's.
Correct. Yeah, they
That-
had a store back in the day, and then unfortunately they closed down the store, and then her husband passed away due to COVID, and she inherited the whole collection.
Wow. And so I know you've taken some of the vintage, but the rest of the stuff is there for the taking.
Yes, sir.
Where does she live?
So she's probably about, I want to say about 40 minutes from my store.
Okay. We're going to call our wives. We're going to tell our kids we're not coming home tonight. And we're going to go chase some cardboard with you.
Sound good.
All right. We'll see you in a bit. I'm going to tell you a quick way that you can help our channel without doing anything except clicking a button. Did you know that 61% of the people that view the Chasing Cardboard channel and all of our episodes do not subscribe? All it takes is about 2 seconds to click that subscribe button, and it helps us tell our sponsors and our audience that you guys love Chasing Cardboard. Subscribe right now.
Where are you from?
So I'm from Kansas City. Matt is from Dallas.
A lot of it's cards, not all of it.
And the backside too.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're talking. It's been a while since we've stumbled into a true barn collection, but just walking in has me excited for the hunt.
We got into it about midway through our marriage. Had some other things. He was in the military for 8 years after we got married. You know, we moved around a lot. And like I said, we had a box about that long, 2 rows. And then he decided they were worth something one day and wanted to go into business. And I got an AC put in the window for last summer, just before I went to the hospital, but I ended up being in the hospital for 4 months.
Oh, jeez. Not fully recovered? Good?
About as much as I can be at this
Yeah.
point. It was pretty serious stuff.
Thanks. Oh my gosh, we haven't walked into something like this in a while, but I'm definitely intrigued.
Oh, yeah. And when we sold our house in Tennessee and moved north, it stopped. And he still wanted to do it when he retired. And
Yeah.
that's when I told him, I said, you better hope for grandsons, because Scott and I, are the youngest, we're finished.
You're done.
About a year ago, we helped Bonita move all the stuff from a storage. She had an unfortunate event. Her husband passed away from COVID, and she had all this in storage and no one could help her out. So my sons and I helped her move all the stuff in here, so that way she didn't have to pay the extra storage fee.
We were not lugging this stuff around anymore.
No kidding, this is quite the haul. What year did you stop then officially? It's like what years do you go up to?
I don't know just how far he went. I know he went into the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
He may have a few that are more recent,
Yeah.
but I didn't pay much attention after that. He would have fun just playing with them and getting more. I grew up in Cincinnati, the oldest girl in a blended family, taking care of the younger siblings. There was no money for me to go on and pursue college or anything like that if I had wanted to. I didn't know any other way out of the house, and a girlfriend of mine was showing the brochure of the Navy to a group of girls one day, and after they left, I said, let me see that. You know, I hadn't even dated but once before I went into the service, because I was so busy taking care of younger sisters and getting food on the table. So this was my way out of the house. So here I am at Balboa, and the guys are starting to call on me. When Jeffrey came along, there were 2 other guys I was mainly going out with that would call on me. But he kept coming back. It got pretty serious, and I ended up getting out, and then we got married. Stayed married for 50 years.
There's more here?
Yes, there's some back here too.
Bonita told me she joined the Navy in 1968, which means she's been serving in our military. She's still serving and helping out veterans for over 57 years. Incredible. What an amazing woman.
Things here that may need to be tossed.
Oh, the Sports
Old
Illustrated.
Yeah, the Sports Illustrated.
Wow. Yeah, they're all
My son, youngest, had the one that they sent to the schools for the kids, free.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a collection of those too from back in the 80s.
I'm walking through the aisles and I'm already loving what I'm seeing. I just can't wait to lift up these lids and dig through this stuff.
Her husband also collected the Beckett's, and I swear he had Beckett 1 from prison. Unfortunately,
He also had tough stuff, and I think we finally got rid of those.
This is one of those, like, this is what makes it worth kind of maybe looking through. 2000 EX green Pedro Martinez. These are just cool. I mean, $15, but just everybody knows what that is. Carlton Fisk rookie. Late 90s I see in here. Goes up to the late 90s.
Yeah, stuff.
Oh yeah.
We have team sets.
Team sets.
Team sets from back then.
So what's the last card show you remember doing? What year was that?
Oh, gee. Would have had to been 95 before we moved north.
Okay.
He died in 21, 1 month before our anniversary for 51. COVID hit for our 50th anniversary. Those big anniversaries never meant much for me because usually there was something that wasn't good around them. And the 50th, they closed everything. The year before, we had taken a trip up to see the grandkids, and I talked to one of my sons, says, I really want to take them on the Polar Express. I don't want to get Christmas gifts because I get so much. I want to experience. And Jeffrey was already showing signs of Alzheimer's, but I hadn't picked up on it at that point. And so it was the last trip that they ever had with him.
You know, I found this Ted Williams, actually, and the Carlton Fisk in a random box. Here it is right here. It's baseball miscellaneous sets and commons.
Yes, he was a common back in the day.
He was a common man. Oh, we could do this. Actually, I don't even know if it was one of these boxes over here, but the vast majority of this is Sparky Anderson 1993 coach card and 96 Donruss. If it's not good enough for Marshall Store, it's not good enough for Chasing Cardboard. That's gonna be our new motto. I'm so glad we stopped in to see Marshall. I mean, the relationship alone is worth it, but this lead, everything about today was just perfect. So I see some basketball in here. So did you do all sports?
Basketball, football, baseball. Any hockey that he had, I believe are gone. I just found that he had some flags from way back in the house, just a handful.
Wow.
And some cards.
Okay.
I'm ready to get rid of it. I've got no reason to keep it. At some point, I'm going to be in a position where I probably have to move closer to my kids in some way or go to a nursing home. I don't need it.
So you probably remember the drill back in the day because you were running these card shows. It's like the 88 to 92 window was tough because there was a lot of it, you know.
It started in 86 actually.
Yeah?
When they started overproducing.
Yeah.
And we got into it just as they were starting to overproduce the cards. But he went all the way back to 55. And so the older cards were where the money was. And he had basketball, baseball, football.
So what did you learn during that time with reselling? How were you selling stuff? Was there any rhyme or reason to it?
Yeah, there was. We took certain boxes with us.
Yeah.
Took a lot of the stars, a few of the sets and things, whatever was hot at the time.
Okay, so Bonita seems to have some experience. She sat at card shows. She took her kids to these events. Explaining to her the reality of junk wax is probably not going to be that hard. Oh, some of these are the sealed ones.
Uh-huh.
There's some basketball.
Yeah. There's a few boxes. This one seems to be mixed.
Junk wax can sometimes be sugar-coated when you find it wrapped. There's a couple sealed cases and a bunch of sealed boxes of some pretty decent junk wax product. Are these binders full?
Pretty
I
much.
guess we'll find out. Oh, okay.
I haven't looked at them in a while. If they're not, the ones that are full may be over here.
So was it mostly positive memories in the sports card world? Or do you see this and does it bring back stress?
It was. It was a learning experience.
Yeah.
Our youngest was around 10 when we started. The other one, a few years older. The other one kind of aged out. Was me and the youngest for the most part later. But the one thing I looked at was if it interfered with them learning at school and keeping their grades up, it was going to be, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
But what I saw was the youngest excelled in school. He could count a handful of cards and give a price to a customer better than I could.
These are always tough situations because I feel some of that burden that she has. I know she wants to get rid of this stuff. she's getting older. She wants to move on from it. I mean, you guys deal with that too. What do you do in that situation? Family member wants to get rid of these cards. You know the value's not high. How do you encourage them to get rid of those cards? Let me know in the comments below. So this is kind of a combination of everything I found. Some decent like early 90s stuff. Great Tony Gwynn rookie. That looks like it's in pretty good. You never know. That's in a screw down how good a condition that is. Some 60s Yastrzemski stuff. That Ted Williams we showed earlier. Some cool stuff. But I found this in a box over there earlier, and it was just late 90s, early 2000s autographs. Again, I mean, it's Quincy Morgan, Dante Culpepper, Edgar and James refractor, Jerry Rice numbered, Javon Curse. There's some cool stuff. That Ricky Waters atomic refractor. I'm going kind of fast. Eddie George refractor. These are all awesome cards. The Gallery Heroes, the original stained glass of Mark Brunell. That's pretty sweet from 97. Handful of things where I thought, ooh, this is pretty cool. Brett Favre jersey. Oh man, I am trying my hardest to keep the number high, but every time I go through a box, the number I'm willing to pay just keeps getting lower and lower. I've looked for maybe 2 hours. This is what I've found that I would take home with me right now. That is the big problem that I face.
One important thing to clarify. Marshall let us know before we came that him and his boys already took most of the 50s and 60s vintage and some of the top modern players like Jordan, LeBron, and Kobe. So we completely understand that it's been picked through, and I'm really glad they loaded up their card shop with some great inventory, but it definitely lowers my expectations on what could be remaining in those boxes.
81, 82, 83, 79 football. Earl Campbell's gone. 81 football, all the Montana's gone. The 83s, there was no Marinos. So all of the rookies were being pulled out. We've been going for about 2 hours, but it's definitely time to sit down and just figure out what we're gonna do about all this. So here's a question for you. We get this question a lot because we go see a lot of husbands who collect and collect and collect. And the wives, it always creates some sort of dissension between the wives, and we kind of sense it. What advice would you give young wives who are dealing with husbands that collect? What did you learn over the years to kind of support that?
Be careful what you wish for. They grow.
The collections don't get smaller?
No, it grows. And it did with us.
Would you have gone back and changed anything with that?
I don't think so. That was his focus. He was tunnel vision sports. You take something away from a guy and you might as well say goodbye to the marriage. If you love him, you have to go with the flow a lot of times and learn from it. And there were a lot of things we learned. There were some good things that came out of it. Like meeting the stars of some of the baseball players.
Yeah.
And they're people like us.
It's pretty deep wisdom. So, what do you actually want to get rid of? Let's start with that. All the cards.
Yes.
In a perfect world, all the cards, and that's it?
Well, those magazines my son had.
Okay. Magazines, get rid of the magazines.
Get rid of it all.
Okay. Okay, so all of the cards in there and all of the magazines, you just want to get rid of.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can take the shelving with you. There may be some other memorabilia that pops up. I have no reason to hold on to it.
Okay.
My husband died 4 years ago now. I'm not going to go out and do this kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I need to lighten the load.
Okay. These conversations are never very comfortable, so I'm going to do what I always do and let them give me the number first. You guys have probably talked about this. I mean, neither one of us is going to get rich off of what's in there. There's a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. For us, we look at it and we're like, okay, it's going to be a lot of work. We're going to go to a storage unit, and we're going to probably store them in this city for a while. But we'll get them out of here, and we'll just hunt through them when we're coming through the town. And try
they can stay there for right now if
Okay.
that's what you want to do.
What do you think's a fair price for all those?
It's kind of hard. I think she was looking mainly for like $25 to $50 on the column boxes.
Yeah. $25 for some of those boxes. I mean, I get where they're coming from. Some of those are not worth $25. We all know that.
If we counted up, just off the top of my head, I don't know how many boxes in there, but I don't know. There's a lot of boxes in there.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a number in mind? Or?
Yeah. So here's the reality.
Yeah.
You know the reality.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
90% of that will be in a storage unit or go
Right.
to a dumpster
Right.
until we get old.
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 is the number that came to mind.
There's probably more than that in there, in just the good stuff that's there, isn't there?
Yeah. Trying to think. I really want to sit down and see how many, if we count the boxes, 2,000. And I completely understand. And then the storage units and moving it, all that. You know.
And I understand there's a lot of common boxes.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there are some good cards out there as well.
We wouldn't even be interested if we didn't think there was some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're almost becoming a moving company at this point because I'm thinking, okay, wow, this is gonna be some work for a lot of stuff that we're not gonna ever look at again. But I'm willing to do it, and he's willing to do it. He wants the magazines.
Well, you don't
He-
want to go into debt putting it into storage here either. That's an expense you shouldn't have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you thinking? I mean, just shoot straight with me here. I don't know where you're coming from here. on this.
I think I was more. I was more closer to 6.
6,000? Okay.
Is where I think. But again, it's counting the boxes. You
Yeah.
know, because we know what's in the boxes.
And they're in good shape.
Yes. Yeah. There's none of
Yeah.
those cards, and you've seen it. I mean, out of all the boxes we went through, I think you only found one box that had brick cards in it. It's really ultimate up to Bonita, but I would say, you know,
Is 6 a number that you guys talked about? Like, is that what you were?
we didn't really talk about it.
Okay. You're just
but-
counting the boxes and doing the math.
And that's
basically.
what I told her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I told her between.
He was going to come out and let's go through them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were going to sit down and come up with a solid number.
Yeah.
It just so happened that you guys came in. I was like, hey, you know, I have a friend that
Sure.
had a collection. You guys might be interested in it. But I think, you know, 25 bucks, you know, a common box to $50 on the common box, depending on the years.
Yeah.
I mean, 91, okay, yes.
Totally.
We've seen too many of those. The only one that's going to want one of those boxes, and the only thing those boxes have going for them is that they've been sitting for years and no one's touched them, no one's played with them.
Right. They're not wet.
Yeah,
they're
there's
not
no
moldy.
There's no
Yeah.
you know, rat
And
pee
they're
or
in
anything
order.
on them.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that those 90s have for them, and I know because I got the 55s through the 60s, and they were just as nice.
Yeah.
So sorry guys, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think, you know, if we count up all the boxes, it should. But the part on it too is we want you to make some money on it too.
Yeah. So here was the other alternative that we came up with. It was we could spend a couple hours and we could probably just fill up the stuff that we know is worth our time and take it and pay you the price we know that it's worth and walk out today. But we also knew your main objective was to clear that place out. And so we're thinking, okay, if we really want to help her out here, we need to clear this place out. So let's do that. So, but if you want, we could just go spend a couple hours in there. We could come up with a couple boxes, and we'd feel really good about that. But you'd still have the same problem you had when we came.
Yeah, and then I have to worry about lifting it all and take it out myself somewhere.
And then the next person that comes in is going to realize, okay, some
There's
guys have
nothing
come
left.
through, have picked all the good stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also realized that on the dealer side, you don't get necessarily the full value of what something's listing either.
Yeah. Correct. They're at 6,000. I'm at 2,000. I know we could probably meet in the middle. I need to go take a minute and just go peek back in there and make sure this is something that I really want today. So there is a wide range of, I would say for the most part, probably 95 to 2002. All sports, a lot of football over here, a lot of baseball up there. There was one box that had some numbered stuff. You pulled it out. There's some refractors in there. But for the most part, it's just been kind of the stars and a lot of their, their 94 Fleer Jerry Rice, the 90 Fleer, the 91 tops, all top loaded. I could just tell like they were probably crushing it at card shows, and this is the way you set it up for them to come by. Like, that's a sweet 2000 SPX. Okay, so I took about 15 minutes just to make sure that I'm comfortable with everything here. $3,500 is the most I can spend, so I'm just gonna throw it out there with one very important caveat. Bonita's gotta let us store it here until we come back this summer to grab everything. We might take a little bit for the ride back home, but we're gonna come back and grab it. If anything, I just wanna get a deal done to support Bonita because he seems like such an amazing woman.
So what you guys thinking?
So we're in love with Bonita. We're not in love with the $4,000 deal. I'll say that.
Oh, thank you. I think.
She's selling the deal.
She's selling the deal. Look, we love cards. We're just being very real with you on like the way this works. You own a card shop. You ran a card show and card shop for years. You know. We'll do $3,500 if you're willing to store it at your place for just a bit. Maybe give us through the summer as we come back down on a trip. If you can, maybe we'll call you and say, hey, maybe give us a hand or something.
Yeah.
If you're willing to work with us a little bit, we'll make it work. We just need a little leeway to kind of give us the opportunity to find the value. But I think that's kind of the best we can do and feel decent about it.
Well, like I said, this is all for Bonita and making new friends and helping out old friends.
Yeah.
So it's still I like it, but again, it's Bonita's collection, and it's up to her if she wants to accept the offer. I think it's fair. So
I know my husband put a lot of value in the cards, but he was tunnel vision sports. I need to get rid of them, so I think I'd be okay with it.
Okay.
all right.
Done deal.
Sounds like a plan.
Well, we'll do 2 handshakes.
handshakes,
We'll
okay.
do an official one with Bonita. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and shoot me a text message when it's all in the storage unit in a couple months, and then we'll be back down to grab everything.
In my house.
Today was truly full of surprises. I mean, we popped in on an old friend, we purchased Pokemon cards, and we ended up working on another deal for a barn full of cards. But the best part was getting to hear the stories from Bonita and appreciating how much she served our great country. Keep chasing.